Hello, my name is Dr. Faisal Mustafa. I was born 1st of February 1964 on Bola Island in Bangladesh. My father's name is Ghulam Mustafa. I currently live in United Kingdom, Manchester. My address is 62 Green Pastures, Stockport. And when I visit Bangladesh, my birthplace and also motherland, I live in Duludka, in my auntie's home. I'm married with 3 children, 2 boys and 1 daughter. I work as a consultant. Basically, I am self-employed. I give advice to companies on importing, exporting chemicals. I write reports on handling, transport, safety, EU regulations, prices, use and disposal of chemicals. I graduated from Manchester Metropolitan University in material science and chemistry, 2-1 honours degree. Then I obtained a PhD from UMIST in Manchester, PhD in corrosion engineering in 1997, I believe.
Your employer's name, please.
I have several employers. I work for companies like Nord Petrochem. I also work for Shell. Andrew Hilson I work for as well.
Okay. So how frequently you visit Bangladesh?
I visit Bangladesh on average once a year or sometimes twice a year.
What is the purpose?
Purpose is to see my relatives, my friends, to do some hunting, which I do in the winter season. And also I run a charity in Bangladesh called Green Crescent, which I've been involved in since 2005 properly. We have made a clinic which provides free health service for poor people. We have got an orphanage on about 12 acres of land. We want this to be a school based on Islamic values, but we'll teach skills such as maths, science, English, Arabic as a language, and skills such as carpentry, mechanical skills for poor children, and fishery and vegetable growing, etc.
You said about Green Crescent?
The Green Crescent is a charity, UK registered charity, registered in Bangladesh as well. All its finances come from individual donors. None of the finances come from any government.
Individual donors from which
area? From the UK, some people from Canada, 1 or 2 from America.
Who collects those funds?
I collect the funds, and other people in the United Kingdom collect the funds.
What's his name?
One of the guys is Mr. Sabani. He helps in collecting money. Another person is called Sister Dilara. She's a friend of my wife. She's also helps in collecting money.
Where do they stay?
One of them, the brother Sabani, lives on Longside, Duncan Road, number 74 Duncan Road. And the other one, Sister Dilara, lives 69, I don't know the name, but it's in Longside.
How many branch offices do you have of this?
We have
Green Crescent.
We don't really have an office. The office is a room in my house, and we have 1 office in Duludka inside the clinic.
What was your purpose of establishing or spreading this sort of orphanages, or you call it charity?
Yeah, charity. The reason being is I realize in the West there's lots of wealth, people have a lot of money, they don't know what to do with this money. Countries like Bangladesh are very poor. I thought it would be good to take money from a rich country, take it to a poor country, produce some infrastructure which would help local people to benefit their life, their daily life.
What's about the lands and properties you have in the name of Green Crescent?
Green Crescent, we have about 10 to 12 acres of land for the orphanage. Some of the land is for growing food. We have
where are those lands?
This one is in Buranadi, the orphanage. 1 clinic is in Duludka. That land was given free, it's on a pond. We have purchased some land in Hobbyganj. That cost about £6,000. We were thinking of buying a piece of land in Dinajpur for a girls' school in the future.
Dinajpur?
Yes.
The district of Bangladesh?
Yeah.
Okay. So far, what is the amount of money you have spent?
On this project about £70,000, which is about 80 lakh perhaps.
Okay.
On the school, the major project.
Amongst this expenditure, what is your personal contribution?
My personal contribution is about £12,000, 14 lakh.
From your own income?
Yeah, from my own Shares, I sold my
Shares.
shares, yeah. Myself and my wife, we sold our shares to buy the land.
Who all are those here with you, with this green prisons?
Who helps in Bangladesh?
Yeah, what are the staffs, office
The
staffs
staff
and other
who helps
associates?
Associates is Badal, he's responsible for the main school. Humayun and Alam are responsible for the clinic.
Please say again.
Humayun and Alam,
Alam.
brother Alam, they're responsible for the clinic in Dolupka.
Okay.
Brother Munju is responsible for the clinic, so the clinical work and social work like Qurbanis and Iftar in Hobiganj area. So we have about four people, plus we have lots of workers, such as we have 2 paramedics who work in the clinic, Sadiq and Sifon he's called. We also have some workers in the Green Crescent.
Mr. Faisal, we have been talking about your training under MI-5 and MI-6.
I did undergo some military training. They took me to a special SAS training base, special air service training base in the south of England. And when I went there, I was blindfolded. They took me to the truck and we entered a special area, only for special forces. In this area there were buildings which were designed like buildings in Afghanistan. Copy of Afghanistan buildings. And various other areas. And one of the tasks was to go into this area, do a 360-degree surveillance, and then enter the area from the safest area and steal a packet of biscuits from one of the rooms. But the building was guarded by 2 people at the same time. So how to do this, I was taught. How to enter a building, how to do the surveillance. I was also taught how to do crawling and hit targets from a distance. They didn't use a real light gun, they used a half-layer rifle. But they taught me the principles. That was done for 2 days. Sniping, bushcraft, sort of thing. And also they took me to a ship which was on land. This ship they use for breaching, meaning when they're going to attack a place or an area, they use this ship. It's a steel ship hull, how to get into a building using explosives. I didn't use the explosives, but they showed me basically some of the principles. So that training was about 3 days. We had to camp, eat our own food, make our own fire.
You were trained alone or you had some of the companies?
No, I had 2 people. I had 2 of my MI-5 officers.
One with you?
Yeah, one of them was a SAS officer. He's now in Afghanistan. Okay. The other one is ex-military as well. Okay. So both of them are military personnel, elite forces personnel.
They trained only you 3 together?
Yes, just myself and the other 2. There was no other person. They only trained me alone.
Okay. Separate? Just to stay alone?
Yeah, to stay alone.
In a separate room?
Separate room, yes.
Under guard? Blindfolded?
Yes. Taken from place to place blindfolded. Because the secret location is only for special forces training.
Okay. They were also blindfolded?
Yeah. No, they weren't blindfolded. They were okay. They had permit special permission. Okay. Only I was blindfolded. I was given camouflage clothing to wear as well.
Because you were a civilian this way? Special agent? Okay. Then what was your main basic agenda and assignment here in Bangladesh?
Here in Bangladesh, to gather information on various Islamic madrasas.
Okay.
Marazat, the one is in Chittagong.
Hatajari?
Hatajari is one, Potia is another one, Nukia, Riribata Hospital, also Arakan organization, Arno, where they are presently, what the situation is. So I had to go to Cox's Bazar, Chittagong, and I did a tour for several days, picking up information. I already had some contacts. They already gave me some details of people. So I just went.
Who all did you contact with so far?
The person who I contacted, he wasn't working for them, but he's some person that they knew of. He was a doctor that worked in a hospital in Cox's
What's his
Bazar.
name?
I can't recall his name. He's a doctor who was in one of the private hospitals donated by Saudi Arabia in Cox's Bazar. So that's where we went. And then also I had to go to Chittagong. There was a madrasa there. Dhaka as well, then Sylhet to see if I could find Abu Bakr. He was supposed to be a member of Huji.
Where does he stay?
I think he's from London originally.
Abu Bakr?
Yeah.
Where did you go to meet him?
In Sylhet.
Which place?
In Sylhet town there is a madrasa made by people from the UK. I forgot the name of this. So I had to visit this, talk with them.
What was your purpose of visiting all these places and contact the persons?
To analyze if they are receiving funding from outside.
Okay.
If so, which countries? Number two, are there foreign students in these madrasas? If so, from which countries? What is the curriculum and the agenda of these madrasas? Do they teach jihad in these madrasas? So forth. Basically, they want to know what the character of these madrasas are, their source of funding, and what they're going to achieve in the future.
Did you perform your job perfectly?
Yes, I wrote them. I had to memorize most things.
Okay, then
Then
what is your modus of communication and delivery?
I had to get a plane to Bangkok, and we met them in Bangkok.
Okay.
Two agents, one from MI-6 and one from MI-5.
Okay.
And then I was interrogated by them to obtain all the information.
Interrogated or interviewed?
More of an interrogation.
Interrogation?
Yeah. Very thorough.
Very?
Thorough.
Thorough? Okay.
So, well, they were very happy.
Yeah.
That it was a good job. And I think another year later they'd send me again to look at a few other places. Again, Cox's Bazar, Dhaka, also to meet members of Huji, which I did.
Right.
They wanted to know what Huji's plans are for the future, what their numbers are, which countries do they send troops to fight the jihad, and who their leaders may be.
Does Huji send troops to fight?
Yeah, Huji send people to Afghanistan, they send people to Kashmir, they've even sent people to Iraq. Huji is in two divisions. One is who have been involved in Bangladesh directly, like led by Abdul Abdul Hannan. He was one of them who had a little small group, splinter group that carried out attacks in this country against politicians and also against the ex-Prime Minister, well, the current Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina. And there is another group, Huji, who are involved in going abroad, training there and doing jihad in other countries.
Then who is leading that group?
I don't know who the current leader is. I currently don't recall who it is, but I gave them the details.
Okay. Then what are other groups you met with here?
Other groups I met with JMB, Jamaat Mujahideen Bangladesh.
When and how?
I met them in 2005. I had an office in Dhaka, in Katalbagan, Green Crescent office. I used to get people coming for donations, for help. On one occasion, someone called Razun, I think, came. We talked.
Please say again, I couldn't follow you.
There's a person called Rajun.
Age?
He was about 18 at the time. He wanted...
Early 2005 or late 2005?
Early 2000.
Early?
Yes.
In the month of?
Probably in January, something like this.
Okay.
Yes. Early.
What did he tell you?
He told him he belonged to a large group and they need help.
What sort of help?
Their leader, their boss wanted to go abroad with procedure, and they want some ideas on policy.
What policy?
On how their organization could advance and achieve their objectives of creating an Islamic state through jihad. But they didn't have any policy, they didn't have any proper order or structure. They wanted someone to give them some advice. So they came to me and I went to premises in Dhaka. I think it was near Kamalpur railway station, Jamalpur railway station. In the morning.
How many people came to invite you?
One person. Just Raju came.
What's the name?
Raju.
Raju?
Raju, yes.
Or Rajan?
Rajan.
Rajan?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I went, I met someone who I now know to be Abdul Rahman, and another guy called Sunny. Those two were there.
Awal?
The Kawal?
Long beard?
Yes, broad shoulders.
Yeah, Awal.
Sorry, Owl.
Okay.
So they were mainly interested in a policy, a long-term policy for Bangladesh, how it could be achieved.
How many hours did you talk?
I was with them 3 hours. We had lunch.
Lunch or dinner?
Dinner.
When did you go?
When did I go?
At what time?
In the morning.
Early morning?
Yeah, I think I started about 6, maybe I got there for 8.
Okay.
Within that period, they ate about probably
What
10.
all were the discussion points?
Yeah, the discussion points were mainly what they would have done in Bangladesh, their organization, some of the skills they have, their combat units, their history.
Did you advise them some?
I didn't advise them on anything to do with weapons because I don't know who they are. All I advised them was on a policy. I said, for your policy, you must first of all consider that the situation in Bangladesh is different from other countries like Afghanistan. So for that, you need to consider the situation of Bangladesh.
Then cracks of it.
Cracks of it, I said, you have to wait. There are people outside.
Did you teach them some of the explosive making, bomb making and other things?
No, I didn't.
You do still maintain the communication?
Yes. I discussed verbally about nitrocellulose because they were interested in making propellants.
Okay.
But I didn't take a manual or things like this.
Yep.
So we discussed this with them on a brief note, and also we discussed future and what they should not do in the future. And I said to them, don't do anything because you're not ready and you only make a mess of everything. Just be patient and wait for a proper policy.
You sent them a long email, isn't it? Did you?
I don't recall sending that. No.
Yeah. Some of them contacted with you.
What is the email address? Then I'll know if it was me or not.
Something like 11123.
No, that's not me.
Not yours.
Not mine.
Theirs.
Yes, theirs.
There.
Yes.
11123.
No, not mine.
Not yours. I'm talking about there.
No, I would have remembered. My emails are fa.mo.
No. I'm talking about their email address.
No, I don't. They sent me an email?
No.
You
sent them email.
No, I don't recall sending them an email.
From UK.
Not me. Yeah.
That the language was something like that. My dear friends, Bangladesh is not the place of jihad.
Okay.
Still time has not come, but you can go ahead. Something like that. Quite a long.
No, that's not me.
Is it?
No, it's not.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
But you can kidnap some of the high officials.
No.
You can take ground for services.
I know for sure that's not me because I know I'm monitored by the police. I would never write an email like that.
Okay.
I'm 100% sure I didn't write it.
Okay. Then still you do have communication with JMB?
After on the phone I had talked with Raju a few times. Then after that a series of explosions happened all over Bangladesh.
2005?
Yeah, and all of a sudden it became big headlines. And after that happened, I just moved away. I thought I don't need to get myself involved with these
What
people.
about the present leadership of JMB?
No, I have no involvement with them at all.
No, but you know
I know through somebody else, but not directly.
Who is he?
Manjun, one of my friends, he's...
From Habiganj?
Yeah, because the leader also comes from Habiganj.
How does he know?
Because he knows this leader is also from Habiganj. It's common knowledge for everybody in Habiganj.
No, but what is his speciality?
Because he was... Manju was initially member of Jamaat Islami.
Okay.
And also the leader of this JMB now was also before a leader of Jamaat, local leader of Jamaat Islam.
Okay.
So by that means he knows him.
Okay. Do you think that you can take us to
I think
Mr. Sadir Rahman?
we can try, and I'm sure if we are convincing enough, it's achievable and we are patient enough.
How many organizations did you contact other than JMB?
JMB, Harakatul Jihad, I also spent some time with, I think most of my time in depth was spent with RSO, running the Soviet organization.
What was the business there?
My business there initially to give humanitarian aid. We collected money from UMIS, not just UMIS, but from the United Kingdom, £2,000 in cash. We gave it to Dr. Mohammed Yunus. He took us to the camps, and they told us what they needed. I gave them a lecture on explosives, a 2-day lecture. I made notes, and those notes you were found in the guest house, no doubt. So
how many years did you have communication with RSO?
For about 2 years. For about 2 years.
After which year you?
After September 11th, I lost contact.
After 9/11, you
I discontinued for obvious reasons, because they became associated with Al-Qaeda.
So recently, do you have any agenda with JMB?
I have no agenda whatsoever with JMB. I do not agree with what they have done.
Okay, but you have connection with some of them still?
No, I don't have any connection.
Connection means communication?
I have no communication with JMB at all.
Okay.
That's a fact.
What do you think that the man behind or the organization behind JMB assessing all these things, and
I think it's a foreign power.
And who could be the?
I have two options. One is maybe European power.
Okay.
But they don't do it themselves. They're using maybe war to do the dirty work. That's why I probably think, because JMB actually doesn't have a policy.
Yeah.
It's like a headless chicken.
Yeah.
So why do what they're doing? It doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Whereas Harakat al-Jihad is structured. It has a line of command.
Okay.
It's well organized.
Yeah.
It's going into politics.
Yeah.
Very different.
Okay.
And Harakat al-Jihad is monitored and taken very seriously by Western governments and American governments.
Yeah.
Whereas JMB is not taken seriously.
Why?
Because it is probably not controlled or is not influenced by external factors. So it is...
Or is it so controlled that they are not bothered about it?
That's exactly right. That's what I'm trying to say, yes.
Please say
yes, it is being manipulated. It's being manipulated, so they don't need to be worried about it.
Then who is controlling? Who is the controlling authority? If you know somebody.
I don't know anybody personally. No, I don't know anybody personally. But I would think...
Who are the donors?
I personally think...
Can you name some?
I can't name any donors. But I know that they received £10,000 from some Pakistani and also some money from a Bangladeshi.
No, you talked about two Pakistanis?
One, but I also have heard that some Bangladeshis have given them money as well.
No, Mr. Sajjad and Mr. Abdul Rahman.
Yes.
We heard it.
You heard it.
Do you know them?
I know of them, yes.
Both of them?
Sajjad more than the other one.
Sajjad?
Sajjad Khan.
Yeah, you know him?
Yes, because he used to be Al-Majroon, if I recall correctly.
And?
The other one is Al-Majroon as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Both of them are from Al-Majroon, we knew. But do you have some other more information regarding them?
Not at present. I will have to go and...
No, previously, before?
No, before no.
They had any alignment with any other agencies or foreign powers?
Yes, they are very much in the headlines. Okay. They're well known. It is rumoured that they may also be working for MI-5.
Outside?
Outside, yeah, internally as well.
Like Bangladesh?
Yeah, like Bangladesh.
With JMB?
It is a possibility.
Can you find them out?
I'll have to